There are 5 core rums that dominate the sales in their categories, but the thing is, most of them are loaded with sugar. This one, for example, reportedly contains up to 45 grams of sugar per litre. That's about one of these sachets of sugar per double shot. And of course, all the sugar is doing is masking really poor quality rum. In fact, 4 of these rums coming up in this video aren't even legally rum. The reason they sell so much is purely down to marketing budgets and the fact their marketers are very clever with wording. So let's dive in to what I think you should be buying instead. Now I'm going to start off with white rum. Bacardi dominates this category. And honestly, it's probably the best of the 5 rums that are coming up in this video. But comparing it to other white rums in its category, it is largely flavourless and blended that way so it gets lost in drinks. So here's my recommendations for better white rums that you could be using in your mixed drinks and highballs and your cocktails. And if you like me, actually sipping white rum leaks, I absolutely love it. Now I know these 2 white rums that I'm going to mention are more expensive than Bacardi, but that's what you get. You pay more for better quality liquid. So first off, I'm going to start off with Planteray 3 stars. It's a rum that I absolutely love. It's a blend of Jamaica, Barbados and Trinidad rums, pot and column still blends. You get lovely vanilla notes, lovely sort of tropical fruit notes, way more than you'd ever get off Bacardi. You also get this light sort of citrusy note as well, which makes it perfect for your rum and cokes and Cooper Libras, or like me, your daiquiris and your mojitos. Now, the second white rum I'm going to give you is from a distillery that you probably wouldn't necessarily associate with having a white rum. They're very well known for their spiced and their aged rums, but their white rum largely goes under the radar, and that is Chairman's Reserve. I remember doing a blind tasting with this 21, 22 time, and in neat and in daiquiris, it absolutely romped it. You get this lovely sort of citrusy, limey, orangey top note to it. But then as it finishes, it's this lovely sort of creaminess with a touch, just a touch of apple. And I just think it makes the incredible sort of those lighter daiquiri mojito style cocktails. Now we're going to move on to aged rum. And weirdly, I'm saying Bumbu absolutely dominates this category, but purely because a lot of its consumers don't actually realise what it is. Now, while there may be some aged rum in this bottle, actually what it is a flavoured vanilla spiced rum. I mean, it even says so on the bottle, flavoured with vanilla. Now for me, this rum is purely marketing. The money it sells for is absolutely ludicrous, and you can get much better quality aged rums cheaper. Now I was actually going to point you towards Appleton Signature because that is actually considerably cheaper than Bumbu. However, for just a couple of pounds cheaper than Bumbu, you can step up to Appleton 8-year-old, which for my money is the best all-round neat sipping cocktail mixing rum that you can get for your money. It's a Jamaican rum, and you get these lovely sort of tropical fruit notes to it, these banana notes to it. You get this sort of vanilla and a touch of caramel. But the one thing I really like about it is that it's not overly funky. It's not your typical Jamaican funk bomb. It has got those elements of banana to it, but trust me, there are a lot funkier rums out there that you could use for your cocktails than Appleton. So for me, Appleton is just a catch-all when it comes to rum and cokes, when it comes to Mai Tais, when it comes to pina coladas even. And then for the second rum, the thing I find absolutely bonkers is that this is still cheaper than Bumbu the majority of the time, and that is El Dorado 12-year-old. 12 years in barrels from Guyana. You've got this sort of pot and column still blends, those lovely wooden pot stills that they have over in Demerara Distillers Limited, DDL. And through that, you do get this sort of molassesy, dark, sort of richer note to it. But you've also got those sort of caramelly vanilla notes. You get a touch of chocolate on there as well. But then you get your dried fruit, your raisins, your sultanas, a tiny, tiny bit of orange in there. And for me, it's just absolutely inconceivable that this, the majority of the time, is cheaper than Bumbu. It's just bonkers. 12 years in a barrel, absolutely, well, minimal to no sugar involved in the El Dorado 12-year-old. It's such a delicious rum. Now moving on to dark rums, when I ask a room full of people what their favourite dark rum would be, 9 times out of 10, I'm getting Kraken. And it's another one of those misunderstood products, because Kraken is not a dark rum, it's a black spiced rum. And it isn't that colour naturally. It's again heavily sweetened up with sugar and plenty of additives and flavourings to create those spice notes. Now, admittedly, most dark rums actually do have a little bit of colour added to them, because it's very rare that you can get a rum that colour coming off barrels. But some distilleries do it really well and used heavily charred barrels. They'll toast the insides of barrels to burn them, and then they'll let the rum sit in there for X amount of time. And some distilleries can produce really, really dark rum just through heavily charring their barrels. But a lot of the dark rums you see on the market are actually colourless or lightly aged with a ton of caramel colour added to it to make them dark. So here are my 2 recommendations for what I think are the best 2 dark rums on the market. Now, first up, I am going Gosling's, and I actually think it's really hard to beat. I tend to avoid brands that trademark drinks and things like that, but in this case, it is so hard to beat a Gosling's Dark and Stormy or a rum and ginger beer with other rums, because Gosling's does it so flipping well. It's a blend of Caribbean rums that are then shipped to Bermuda and aged. And granted, there is a touch of colouring in there, but not as much as your cheaper dark rums. It is just, in my opinion, one of the 2 best dark rums to put with ginger beer or your fruit-forward punch-style cocktails. With Gosling's, you get this lovely sort of rich molassesy kind of vibe to it, burnt caramel kind of vibe to it, but you also get lovely coffee notes and lovely vanilla notes. But then they lengthen out into sort of spice flavourings. You get this lovely sort of spicy, clovey kind of flavour. But the intriguing one for me is I get a touch of licorice on the back end. I don't like licorice at all, but I think this works really, really well. Now, for me, the true competitor to Gosling's will largely be unheard of outside of rum enthusiasts, but it is really easy to get. And that's Jamaican dark rum from the Worthy Park estate, and it's called Worthy Park 109. It is a proper Jamaican rum. You've got this lovely sort of funkiness to it, but the vast majority of that colour has come from those intensely charred barrels. Now, with tasting the Worthy Park, it is actually slightly different profile to the Gosling's, and I think there's room for both in your bars, depending on the cocktails you make. For example, with the Worthy Park 109, the molasses vibe for me is died down. I do get more sort of burnt caramel vibes, obviously because of those intensely charred barrels. I get spice notes up top, but it's how it finishes for me. Once you get past that wood aging, you get this lovely sort of banana-y, funky, ester, tropical fruit note to it. And I think a little amounts of this in things like your Mai Tais is just incredible. Now let's move on to spiced rums. And a lot of you might know where I'm going to go with this, because the world's biggest selling spiced rum isn't actually rum. And it's Captain Morgan, and it doesn't even say rum on the bottle. It's been called spiced gold now for God knows how long. But that's the clever wordplay I was talking about earlier at the start of this video, because not many people realise that. They just see it spiced. They know Captain Morgan is associated with rum, therefore they think it's spiced rum, and it's not. It's merely a spirits drink with loads of additives, loads of sugar, loads of flavourings to give it that spiced element. And every so often, the ABV drops a bit so they can save even more tax. Now, while there are hundreds of different spiced rums here in the UK, and I dare say around the world in the US as well, however, there's only really one brand, one spiced rum that I think everyone needs to try. I'm going to give you a bonus second one, but even for me, it doesn't come close to this. And this, I think, is the benchmark to score every other spiced rum against. I've already mentioned the distillery once in this video, and it is Chairman's Reserve Spiced. And Chairman is solution rum, and Chairman's Reserve Spiced is simply their Chairman's Reserve Original with proper real life spices, fruits and spices. There's no flavour compounds, no dropper bottles, and there isn't actually that much sugar in a bottle. And very few spiced rums on the market can claim that. Now, the beautiful thing with Chairman's Reserve is that you do not lose the rum at the base of it. That Chairman's Reserve original is definitely up front and present. However, the flavour, the spice profile that you get off this is just beautiful. You get this cinnamony clove top note, but very, very quickly you get this sort of spiced, Christmassy orange kind of aroma and flavour that comes through. But on the finish, if you do drink it neat, you also get this sort of caramelly, vanilla-y, but tropical fruit vibe coming off it as well. I just think it's fantastic. I use it a lot in cocktails. I don't think there's a better spiced rum and Coke either. I think that wins that category. It has just been the benchmark of all spiced rums for as near as, damn it, 15 plus years or so. Now, I did mention I was going to give you a backup, and for my money, this is in second place as well, and that is Don Q Oak Barrel Aged Spice. Again, a fantastic rum. Different style of rum because it's from Puerto Rico and not sort of St. Lucia or so. So you've got Spanish style rum versus English style rum there. Don Q is a lighter style of rum, but you do get those barrel notes, and it is real life spices. But what I like about this is that the tasting notes, the profile, is actually very different to Chairman's Reserve, even though it's similar profile, similar spices that are involved. The top notes I get off this is actually more vanilla, more cocoa, chocolate, and then this like lovely sort of subtle fudgy taste that comes through. But then as it finishes, I get this sort of creme brulee, spice cinnamon note. I just think it's beautiful. It's less fruit forward than the Chairman's Reserve. The Chairman's Reserve definitely has that bigger orange note, that bigger sort of tropical fruit note. But the Don Q Oak Aged Spiced, I just think is a cracking spiced rum for the people that might not necessarily like a touch of fruit, that orange forward. Now, the final rum category I want to touch on is coconut rum. Coconut rum is huge, especially here in the UK. I can't talk about how big this segment is in the US and other places around the world, but it's a segment that Malibu absolutely dominates. And again, it's not even a rum. It's not even close to being a rum. In fact, Malibu doesn't really claim to be a rum. It is a rum liqueur. They do use the word rum on the front of the bottle, but the word liqueur is the big giveaway, because when the word says liqueur on the front of the bottle, by legal definition, that has got upwards of 70 grams of sugar per litre. And there is no top limit either. But sugar aside, the ABV of it is near as damn it half the strength of a normal coconut rum. And look, Malibu isn't all that bad. The reason it sells a lot is because people actually like it. You can't get away from that fact. But if you are comparing it to better coconut rums, it is night and day, because once you taste the proper coconut rum, you taste Malibu again and you realize how fake, how synthetic it actually tastes. Now, if you're watching this in the US, I want you to drop your favorite coconut rum here, because we don't actually really get your coconut rum. Kahlua from Hawaii is steadily making its way over here, but I think that's more of a liqueur than what it is. I've not really had it properly, so I can't testify. So this rum coming up is actually more of a UK rum that's started to grow and started to get an international presence, and that is a Luna. And I really like a Luna because it isn't as sweet. It hasn't got the ton of sugar added to it. It's flavored with toasted coconut and coconut water, and it's absolutely delicious, whether you're using it in cocktails, whether you're using it in daiquiris, or whether you're using it as a simple mixer, your coconut rum and cokes. But the interesting rum that is a worldwide rum in this category is actually Planteray Cut and Dry. And for me, it's a very different prospect, because the tasting notes I get off this, I literally call this liquid Bounty, and hopefully that translates around the world. Bounty is that chocolate bar, chocolate on the outside, coconut in the middle, and that is exactly what I taste off Planteray Cut and Dry. The cool thing about this rum is actually Barbados aged rum, and then coming out the barrel at whatever it's 60-70% ABV, instead of traditionally being cut back with water, like every other rum on the planet, to bring it down to bottling strength, whether that's 40% ABV. What they actually do with cut and dry is cut that Barbados rum back with fresh Barbados coconut water. Now, I'm not going to lie, the taste profile is very different to a Luna and other coconut rums. I've gone on record in saying I potentially wouldn't have this for my lighter, my daiquiris, my things like that. I like it as a daiquiri. It's not my favorite coconut rum for a daiquiri compared to a Luna. But where the cut and dry comes into its own is things like rum fashions, tiki cocktails, because then you get that lovely rum bite into your drinks, which you possibly don't get with the lighter coconut rums. Now, if you think I've made a mistake in this video, feel free to dive down into the comments and let us know your favourite rums for each category.